Welcome to Keep the Hotel Empty. I'm your host, Eric Paul. In studio today, we are grateful to welcome in Cassandra and Jordan from the Bagpipe featuring dynamic post-hardcore band, All Hail the Queen. In today's episode, Cassandra and Jordan discuss their DNA as musicians, what brought them together, and their new EP, In Search of Grace. Please enjoy. Welcome to Keep the Hotel Empty. Today we've kept the hotel empty to welcome in Cassie and Jordan from the progressive rock band, All Hail the Queen. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having us.
Good. So I know there's some people out there that are familiar with you and some people that aren't because you've been in the game for a little bit now. For those that aren't familiar with you, can you bring us a little bit up to speed where you're at now? I know you've recently released a cover and you've got a song featured in an anime. I want to get there for sure. But for the people that are new to the All Hail the Queen world, can we bring them up to speed just a tad?
Absolutely. We are it's really hard to nail the genre, but we like to say that we are a post-hardcore metalcore band, female-fronted. My name is Cassie. I am the vocalist. I also play the bagpipes in the band, so we incorporate the bagpipes where guitar solos would be, or in the intro or outros to songs, which kind of sets us apart from a lot of other bands.
Right.
And Jordan plays drums.
Hello.
And we just do the thing.
So how long have you been playing bagpipes? That's an interesting mix in the
So that is my instrument. Singing came later. I was 2 or 3 years old, and my grandfather brought me to Highland Games up in Connecticut, where I'm from, and so I heard bagpipes for the first time when I was 2 or 3, and immediately that was the thing. I was like, that sound, that's what I want. That moved me. It made me feel something. And I just became obsessed with bagpipes in Scotland after that. I was like, this is the thing. And my mom's just like, where are we going to get bagpipe lessons? And we were in Connecticut. So we moved down here when I was 7 to Sarasota. And I was going to school. Actually happened to be paying attention to the morning announcements one day, which was a feat within itself. And, my school had a bagpipe class after school on Tuesdays. It was like, yep, in the band room after school next Tuesday, we start bagpipes again this year. And I'm like, oh, what? It's meant to be. So I started, and it just, it stuck from there. It was immediately the thing. Because I play a bunch of other instruments, but I mean, none of them were something that I was like, no, I'm going to pour myself into this. And that was the thing. And it just really resonated with me so much, the sound, the history, all of it. So I have been playing ever since. I have never taken a break or not played.
So bagpipes precedes rock music.
Yeah. I mean, I did become obsessed with Metallica and other bands when I was really young, probably 8 or 9. I heard Metallica. I was like, that's pretty cool. What, and I guess the idea for incorporating my pipes into heavier music was something that kind of I always wanted to do, but I didn't feel like I would get. I didn't feel like it would just work with somebody else's project. I've been in other bands that were other people's projects, and I was like, oh, what if I do this? And they're just like, that's cool, you do that, but not here. Right. I'm like, oh, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to start my own band.
And people have tried to do the whole bagpipe rock thing before. It's
right.
It's just never really stuck out, and it was always kind of gimmicky for one song. Whereas in All Hail the Queen, it's kind of our bread and butter.
It's part of your fabric as a band.
Yeah.
And that's genuine in that it's part of your fabric as a person. If you're going all the way back to 2 or 3. Bagpipes are a really powerful instrument when you're in the room with them. For people who haven't been in a room with a bagpipe, can you describe that for a second?
Oh, man.
Well, it is loud. Not as loud as some sound guys who have run sound for us. They think that it's so loud, and they're just like, oh, yeah, you don't need, I'm not going to turn you up. And then the drums and everything starts, and I'm just like, you can't hear anything. So,
right.
But it is a loud instrument. It did start as an instrument of war, but it also not only to be scary, but also to raise a feeling of pride within people, within the Scots, that sound, it really moves you. You feel it in your chest, and it is something that resonates with so many people because that's a sound unlike anything else.
Like you were saying, a lot of people haven't heard it in the same room, but It's very powerful. It kind of resonates with your soul. It's insane, man.
Yeah.
It's very powerful, invokes a lot of emotion, no matter who you are, I could say. I've had some real thugs come up to me. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, it's really powerful. It really is.
So at what point does rock music become something that you're doing? You said you were in bands before this where the bagpipe thing wasn't. How does that come to be? Do you start singing and get into bands that way, or?
Yeah, actually. So I've always been in pipe bands, which are, traditional Scottish pipe bands, bagpipes and a drum corps, snares, tenor drums, and a bass drum. But I did that I still do it. Have done amazing things with it. I mean, I've been to Scotland 3 times for the World Pipe Band Championships. I've been all over. I'm very blessed to have done all that.
Awesome.
And then I knew I wanted to sing, but it was always a thing of like having the confidence to actually do it. And even if I was alone, I was like, I don't know. You always feel like somebody's listening to me.
Right.
But at some point I had to be just like, you just got to get over it, man. Like to myself, I was like, you just have to like not be scared. And when you get that confidence and you're just like, I'm not scared, that's when you actually sound good enough to like be like, oh, I got this. You just have to like believe in yourself and drop whatever pretense. So I did that. Like in high school, I started feeling better about singing and like kind of just like formed bands with my friends. And then I did sing in a band called Heights way back in the day, which was a band before I was even like in it. It was 3 guys, and they had originals. They also did covers and like got gigs, like cover gigs where you're playing for like 4 hours. So that was the first band I joined that I was like, all right, I'm learning all these cover songs and also originals, doing original stuff, and that was super fun. And I joined a band called Team Cybergeist, which is like industrial metal, with the drummer from Dope, and he's been in a couple of other projects too. It was very fun. It was like a kind of
shout out Rockbox.
Yeah, shout out the Rockbox. Absolutely.
Just let the cat out of the bag. I definitely want to get Angel in here at some point.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, he and Sally are wonderful. So I was really, really lucky to be in that band. It was so much fun. I got to go on tour with them. I learned a lot about how things work. It was really cool.
And that was where you really start to let your vocals come into what they are. And had All Hail the Queen been a thing at all at this point yet, or this is the jump off to All Hail the Queen?
It hadn't. It had never been a thing. And with Team Cybergeist, I actually, they have on their album like a different singer on every track, different guitarists, different like everything. Everybody kind of just like a revolving door type thing. So I was performing all these songs live, and they were sung all by different people. So I was making it work for me, like, and changing whatever
Gotcha.
Was, because a lot of them, like some of the things that were sung by guys, was a little deep for me, or like I would kind of do what I wanted with it, and it kind of gave me. Even though there were parameters, I still got that like creativity, and knew that I was like, there's a lot of different things I can do. That's dope. So when the band stopped doing stuff, I just was like, I really want to have bagpipes, and I really want my metal band. Like I really want that. And I started playing with a few friends and came up with the name. Like one day at the pool, I was like thinking for months about the name. I'm like, what is the name? And I was underwater, and I would pop my head up and I said, All Hail the Queen. And they were like, what is wrong with you? but no, it really
That's how you know you thought of something.
I know. I was like, eureka. But it was really just like a fun thing. Like, we started, and it was a little slow to start. Then the first guitarist that we like built everything with, Mike Owens, joined. And it was just like, from there, it was like, yeah, like, we're doing this thing. So we started writing and had some friends join. Jordan joined in 2017, and it was just like.
So that's what I wanted to ask you. So right from the jump, since the bagpipes were part of the impetus of this, because you hadn't been able to bagpipe previously, and this was your chance. Yeah. What was it like coming into a band that wanted to feature bagpipes? I'm guessing you had not had experience with that previously.
It's kind of funny. So my band at the time, DIY, had just broken up. We were a Bradenton pop punk band, and I was just kind of in between bands, just kind of doing my own thing. And my roommate at the time had a mom who knew Cassie through their job together. And Cassie, I guess, was griping about not being able to keep a drummer.
Not an easy thing to do.
Or find a good one.
Or being able to find a good drummer, that is. And she's like, oh, I know one.
And I'm like, please let him not be like
some 50-year-old
in a biker cover band. I'm like, that's not it. And she was like, no, it's my son's best friend. And I was like, I'm looking at his Facebook. I'm like, he's got some cool drum pictures. Like, he looks cool. Yeah. Like, I'll message him. And he immediately answered me and was just like, yeah, that's awesome. I would love to come.
So she sent me a couple tracks that they were planning to release for their new EP. I think they only had 2.5 written, and I came in and helped obviously write the other ones, but they were definitely interesting. I've never heard bagpipes in that pretense before.
Right.
It's always been like, you're watching Outlander or something, like, or you're at the Ren Fair or something, so. Or
like you said, it's an attempt at creating that juxtaposition, but it always seems like an afterthought.
Right, exactly. And first song starts off with just like some powerful drum intro. I'm like, all right, cool, I can dig it. And then, therefore after I hear her voice and she's screaming and stuff, and I'm like, damn, this chick can get it. I was a fan of Flyleaf and stuff like that. Not to tie a band to our sound, but and I just really dug it. And so I've never been in a band like that before, so I felt like I had something to offer. Went ahead and messaged her. We met up. And she's actually got a good funny story about.
We love it was just so
up.
Yeah. Mike and I are in the garage and we're like, Jordan's coming. We've been talking to him. He's going to come and play and we're like, oh, I really hope it works out. And so and then we hear a knock on the garage door. We're like, oh, we open it a little bit and he opens it. It's just his face. He's just like, what? I forget what you said. Oh man, I was like, I like him. And the three of us just vibed like so much because we all have the same humor and we're like really just music taste, but also like we're just like dumb and like a random, and it was just perfect. And I was
a lot of goofs that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is that's a thing. It's probably good for people to hear. You can be nervous on both ends. The band is sometimes nervous for the new member to come, and the new member is sometimes nervous to show up. I think
definitely
it's good that you guys share that.
And it's funny too you say that because we'll get to this again later, but we recently have been doing some member searching, and we've been so anxious about it. And like
it's a weird thing.
I remember joining the band. It's the same feeling. So
it's almost like somewhere between, am I going to date this person or take them on as my family member?
Yeah, exactly.
So how long after you're in before you start to release some of the material that you're writing, or what happens next? What's the big milestone after you get Jordan? Now you're not chasing a drummer anymore.
So I joined the band in 2017, and I have some other buddies. They're also looking for a bassist at this time, so I bring in one of my other buddies and he fills in for a while, and we actually just start playing shows right away. We released our music after a string of shows. We had a EP release show at Skybar RIP.
That's when it was Kelly's live, and Kelly told us afterward, he was like, y'all brought in the most amount of people in the history of any place I've run.
Because we decided, we have a lot of friends here in Sarasota, but we decided to play a lot of gigs and get ourselves out there, and then, release material. Everyone was hyped on the material, so.
Good timing.
Yeah.
And you guys know, obviously, Brandon and how Fiends works, so it's a similar concept there. Those guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Well, as long as we're going to ask that, I'm going to divert slightly and ask your opinion on this because I'm very curious. Everybody kind of gives me a different answer. How do you feel about the fact that you have to release singles now if you want your album to have any chance of being heard?
Oh, that's not even a big deal to me. I'm like, release singles. Like, the thing that really gets to me is that, like, no one in the industry will look at you if you aren't, like, really popular. Like, you don't have, like, 12K followers. I'm just like, but,
When that used to be a non-issue at all, every band that got signed did not have 12,000 fans.
As long as there was quality, you know what I mean?
And we feel like we pay so much attention to quality. Like, my lyrics, I work so hard to make sure that it reads like a poem if you don't have any music to it. Like, it's not just, like, a bunch of cussing and, like, dumb stuff that, like, you would just say in a conversation. I feel like it's really important for it to be really profound and to mean something, and not be like too on the nose. And then the music part, I feel like just what we do, I really, really feel good about it. But it's not enough these days.
Do you ever feel like, and this is my own apprehension, and that's why I get curious how other people do you ever feel that the work that you've put in, the fact that you actually care whether or not your lyrics have the potential to come across as profound, do you ever feel like that can be compromised, that everything has to be released as this, for lack of a better term, turn and burn single? Every 45 days you have to put out another piece of art that's supposed to be your heart on your sleeve, instead of your whole body of work that you sat here and toiled for?
I feel like it depends on the band. I mean, there are some bands that just write bangers that go off and they're heavy, and you don't really have to be talking about, life and death situations or dramatic, emotional things that need to be talked about, that we talk about. Our instrumentals sing where maybe the lyrics don't in that regard, like as for aggression and compassion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The vocals are very emotional, very poignant. I would just say that we're going full circle back to the single thing. It sucks to have to, quote unquote, churn out a bunch of singles to get noticed, but it's almost easier in that way because, it's for the intention of getting more views. Drawing more, yeah, and then you do it all at once afterwards, after you've already gotten a lot of attention from those singles, and then it's even more hype. I don't know. I think it's a great formula, but I don't think it needs to be an industry standard.
I think that I mean that's always what's happened, right? Like there's always like a couple singles from the album, and then the album drops, and people love these songs. You drop a song, and everyone loves it. And then you drop another one, but the one before doesn't go away. It's still there. So it's just I feel like I never feel bad about being oh yeah, we're going to drop another single. It's just but the other stuff that people loved before, that's still there. That's going to be there on Spotify when they want to go back and listen. And it just adds to our body of work. And I love turning out a new thing. I get so excited about every song that we write. And even the stuff that's we covered "Lovely" by Billie Eilish. We did it metal with Bagpipes. I think we we just had so much fun. It was so fun. We've also done a couple of other ones that I'm going to be releasing here in the next couple months.
At the end of the day, it all comes to the fun factor. We do it because we want to, not because we have to.
Yeah, amen to that. Amen to that. Mm-hmm. So talk to me a little bit about then the fun of recording a cover, because I know lots of times people want to poo-poo on that, but it is damn fun. It can be very fun, especially when you take the song outside of its context like you guys did. So tell me a little bit about conceptualizing that and how you recorded it and where it's at now.
Honestly, it was just kind of not a spur of the moment thing, but it was just kind of we were hanging out with our friend Justin. He's in a band called Holly Glenn up in Tampa. Love those guys. Justin, we're at his house. He's a sound engineer too. We're just chilling, and I was just I wanted to do a Billie Eilish cover, but I want to do it metal. He's let's go. So I picked a song, and we just sat there, and he just was. I told him, I kind of explained what I was thinking for the drums. Honestly, that's the first thing that I was thinking. Let's get some drums in there, and make it heavy, and it kind of all came together from there.
So when you start, then in that case, are you programming the drums and then you replayed them?
They were actually tracked by a friend who was there with us up in Tampa.
Oh, nice.
He kind of I kind of told him what I was thinking, and he just kind of was this, and I was yeah. And then
yeah, it's all MIDI.
Yeah. But then Jordan did.
I put my nuances on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one of the things I'm curious about now, because there's so many ways to skin the cat, and you see some people that can produce a track like you did, and we'll definitely link to that Billie Eilish cover because I want people to hear it for sure. You can hear tracks like that now and not know how much of it was recorded with an amplifier for guitars or his actual drums. Right. So I'm always real curious how everybody goes about it nowadays, because it's not immediately obvious.
No.
Well, and that's the thing. A lot of bands do. It's hard to tell if something's for me being a drummer, I'm just going to talk about drums for a second.
Right.
MIDI drums nowadays versus we were just in the car listening to Woe Is Me, and I was oh, that's obvious, a MIDI drum set, and I was man, that sounds like crap, but now it's MIDI drums sound so real. It's really hard to tell the difference sometimes. So, I mean, I don't really see anything bad about it, or
No.
you know, we for our album that we're about to release now, it's all live drums overlaid with MIDI, so it's both, you know. So.
Right, and that way you get to keep your nuance, like you said.
Right.
Yeah, and that's such an important thing.
Just adds a little bit more flavor. You know?
Yeah, and your music has such a human feel. You couldn't robot it too much. You'd take away from it.
Exactly.
So tell me a little bit about the record then. You got the single, this cover you just put out. So this kind of dovetails into before. This is part of that single routine. You can do something that's a little fun for you guys, a little no harm, no foul for the record to kind of tee up what you got your heart and soul into.
Yeah.
So how long you been recording? What's that shaping up like?
We started tracking this EP, which is called In Search of Grace, with Draven Noir up in Tampa. He's a great sound engineer, guitarist for a band called KTHE. His wife, Becca, is the bassist.
Cool.
They are badass.
Nice.
And they're just wonderful people. We're really good friends. I love them. We go to their house. They have a beautiful studio set up there. And
Y'all should really hit up Draven for any
I'd love
any
to.
mixing, mastering, like love.
Nothing like being able to record in a house too.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so comfy.
It's
and cool.
so comfy, and the studio's beautiful. We just would go up there and like we would write stuff and then kind of bring it to him and be like, so this is what we're thinking. And, you know, in the productions part of everything, you do change things here and there, but like he was great with just helping us figure out like if we want to change something a little bit, if we want to take a part out and stick it over here. It was just like always fun. Also, it was always fun. It was
So when you're navigating the writing process, you aren't one of those bands that can't include anybody else. Your producer can say things to you, and it's a two-way street.
The more the better is the way I see it. And we don't have any sole writers for any of our songs. You know, we all kind of did it as a group effort. There was no one person writes this song, you know. You just pretty much, someone would have an idea, we'd jam it out and improv it until it formed something and then go from there. You know, there was no real one-man show there, you know. It's totally like I was telling you before the show. We have everything to owe to our friends for helping us get this far, because me and Cassie could have never got it this far, you know. I just hit stuff and she yells into a mic. So.
That's at least half the battle.
Yeah. So
when you're writing things, the ideas don't primarily start with bagpipes or primarily start with vocals. It's just wherever the idea starts, you chase it.
Yeah. So our first EP, The Hollow, is we played in drop D, and after that came out, you know, and then we have we had John Sterling joined the band, and he was with us for I think 3 years. Really wonderful guy. We love him. He was, you know, we were working with him. He's like, let's talk about bagpipes. Like, let's talk about like what we can do with the guitars to make it easier for the pipes to fit into more songs. And I was like, well, honestly, I think we need to go down to drop B, because that will probably work with what I'm
Is that like the native key, for lack of a better term, of a bagpipe? Do they work like a harmonica like that, or
it's not? So like bagpipes, the key is it's a thing within itself. So B flat plus a couple notches, like sharper, it's very hard to match with things. So usually pipers who play in a band will get a B flat. It's called the chanter. It's where your hands go. It's pretty much the main voice of the instrument. You'll get a B flat chanter to match with everybody. I got one pitched in A 440, which is a little lower, but it just made it easier for me to say, okay, for this part of the song, like for the bagpipe solo, this is the chord progression I want for you guys to play.
Gotcha.
And we would incorporate that into the song that we were writing. Like John would write guitar parts, and we would be like, what if you do this here? What if we do that here? And Jordan would bring his drum parts together, like immediately. It was just like he knew exactly what to do.
Nice.
Hear something and something just sounds right and you just go for it, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The drums always come together like perfectly. And then we would, you know, fit in the bagpipe part, you know, and just me being able to say, here's the chord progression we need to play, and like it would work with the song. It just made it easier for everybody, because
So taking the tuning down to B opens up a whole new door.
yeah,
She's able to play more notes and do more with solos and
Awesome.
yeah,
So this new record then is all low like that.
yeah.
a little bit heavier.
Yeah, it is heavier, and that's what we've always like. We we're like metal in our souls. I'm just like, even when I listen to the EP that's coming out, and I'm like, and I love it so much, and I'm almost like, God, like I feel like we're heavier than this record sounds, and we are live. Like I know, like we have so much fun just by being crazy.
And we started playing around with 5-string basses and 7-string guitars, whereas before it was just 4s and 6s. So just getting a feel for gentling things up a little bit.
Yeah. It's just really fun though. It is. It's fun to kind of see like how we've evolved since the days when it was like more pop punky, maybe a little bit metal, but like we're definitely getting more like coming into ourselves more. And I feel like this EP is
it's more mature.
It's definitely more mature.
What do you attribute that mostly to? Other than just the time passing?
I would say the changing of members for sure. After it went down to just me and Cassie, we got a whole new band again, and a whole new, all new musicians, all new flavor, all new writing styles. But also we had dealt with a lot of drama and stuff like that,
and heartbreak
over the years. So it kind of poured into the music. So there are tracks and lines in the songs that I can relate to more than anyone would ever know,
Thank you for sticking with us. We hope you're enjoying the episode. If you'd like to make a difference and take your support to the next level, please visit our Patreon and consider becoming a member. Link in the description. Everything counts in large amounts. Thank you again. Now back to the show. So bringing it down to just the two of you, for better or for worse, turned out to be more for better. Yeah. And you've been able to usher in a different vibe now because the jump off point was just the two of you than the band that preceded it.
I mean, it's always hard to keep things like, it's hard to keep everybody happy when everyone isn't necessarily like getting paid. You know what I mean? Like we're not making money. In fact, like,
passion costs money for a while.
I do the thing, which is fine. I totally want to do that. Like this is my dream. So, but it's hard when you don't, you can't like pay everybody, or sometimes like they have other things going on in their lives, which is what's happened with a few of the people that we had in the band. Like you have people play with you for a while and it's just like, and then they're like, oh, I have to go do this thing. And it's like, you get it. But like some people, like they become your family, and then like, but if they leave or whatever happens, it really like goes deep, like it cuts deep, because you're like, it is like a relationship. It's
and if it's not like that, it's like a brother sister vibe. Like it's hard to just like turn your back on people, even when something bad may happen. The band is family,
right?
And we dealt with a lot of issues with that aspect, so we bounced back and we poured it all on paper and made songs about it.
So how long did it take you to record the record? You're done now, it's mixed, mastered, ready to roll?
Oh yeah, it's actually been ready for a while. We didn't want to like just be like, well, it's just the two of us right now. Let's just release a record, because then we couldn't play shows afterward. Like we didn't want to just like hire people just for the sake of playing a show, because it's like, you can do that, but I mean, we really wanted to have people come in that we could like play with, and that would really like get our vibe. So we waited to release everything. We did have 2 music videos that were so much fun. I mean, so much fun to do. Toddy Babu is the guy who has done both of our videos. He's amazing. He's a wizard. He comes in with the idea for everything. He's just like, oh, yep, this good, that poop, like just shows up with like all the good stuff, and you're just like,
very efficient,
like,
very
oh
quick.
my gosh, it's like
awesome.
Everything in just like hours. And then he comes up with these videos that are so beautiful, and you watch it, and you're just like, that's us.
Are these videos for songs that are on this record to be released?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And they're both out now?
Yeah, they're back to that formula of singles being released and then drop the...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We released Ophelia in June of 22. That was our first music video and the first single off this EP. It It was really fun to film. We filmed part of it at my restaurant on the 3rd floor, which is really fun because it's a fine dining restaurant, and here we are like playing metal with a fog machine and all this crazy stuff. It was amazing.
It's actually right down the road from here.
It is, yeah.
Very cool.
And then the rest was filmed in my neighborhood. I live on a farm, and we went out by the creek, and it was kind of like in this forest area.
Awesome.
Just amazing. And then we did the next video for Secrets in the Flames. I think we filmed it like 4 or 5 months later. Kind of like we didn't adhere to the whole like, release a single and then like a month and a half later release another one. We really took our time with it. And I think it's just because not having like your like lineup, you just feel a little bit like, well, maybe we should just wait.
Yeah, we kept holding off till we found a full band that we wanted, or we felt, that these are the guys, these are the ones, so.
Because the sincerity of the presentation is important to you. This is the aversion to just having hired guns.
Right. Yeah. I don't even like going and taking pictures without the full lineup, or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we've been holding off on any kind of promo until we get that figured out.
So how are you doing the tracking for the guitar and bass now? Your producer helps, or you guys are both multi-instrumentalists, yeah?
Well,
to an extent, but not good enough.
Not where you're tracking your parts?
I wouldn't even put myself on this band, no.
I'm not, no, and I play guitar, but not
to track.
We have.
Yeah.
John and Draven did all the guitars for this album, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And everything that we record from now on, we've got Mike on guitar. We've got my buddy Johnny playing bass, and they are both super into it and really reliable, good guys. And just like, I'm excited. We'll still be working with Draven. He loves like writing with us. It's because it's different than what he does, which is like really like deathcore. Mm-hmm. So like
it's really a far cry from his norm.
Yeah.
So it's fun then.
Yeah. Oh gosh, so fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to it.
That's the root of this band. I mean, we're all doing it for fun. Yeah, it's emotional, and what we sing about is pretty serious at times, but we just try to be relatable and have fun live. We like to dance. We like to shake our butts on stage.
We like to be really silly.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Then people won't confuse that you're taking yourselves too seriously. Yeah, that's a cardinal sin.
God. If we're in between songs and I see somebody tuning, it just becomes like stand up for me, and I think that I'm really funny, and then you hear Jordan start like dun, 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 dun.
I used to have a cowbell for those said situations, but she made me take it off.
Yeah, because you did it when I was talking. And I'd be like, I guess everyone's supposed to stop talking. But like it's always just fun. It's fun. It like there's no feeling like being on stage and playing your music with your band. Like that to me, that is better than any drug there could ever be. Like just playing and like whether there are people there or not, like at rehearsal, I am so happy after we play our songs. Like I love it. We're in like 95 degrees.
With us. We're literally 100%, on stage, off, behind the scenes, hanging out.
We act the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about the first gig then. How long were you in the band before you played live?
Before I played live with them? Oh, man.
Well, we played some shows before Jordan. We had people that were standing in, like, and we played really cool places. We played the State Theater. We played Local 662. We played actually played at Gator Club on Original Music Night. They set this whole thing up so that we could play there pretty much, which was awesome.
And if you're from Sarasota, Gator Club doesn't have many metal bands or anything usually.
It's just covered. No, they were like, Cassie, just
nowhere
take
has
a
much
Tuesday.
metal
Have
bands
another band or two come play. Like, just have fun. And I was like, this is so cool. But like, we did have shows before Jordan. But when Jordan joined, it was like, okay, like I really felt like we were a cohesive unit.
Of what the first one I played with you guys was.
Well, we played at Kelly's Live at, was it Cabana then? Or
no, it wasn't Cabana.
It was
Skybar.
Skybar a lot.
It had to be Skybar.
Skybar.
No, our first show was at the Orpheum.
Oh, God, that's right. You're right. We did. We played at the Orpheum.
We had an Afton group show.
Oh, no, don't say the word.
Okay, we won't talk about Afton. But no, the show
Stricken.
The show was weird. I had just come from a pop punk band called DIY, and our whole essence of DIY was DIY. We built stages, we threw house shows, we kind of formed our own scene because Bradenton, but going into this band and playing our first show, it was a local talent showcase, and it was a mixed genre show. And
those can be treacherous.
It was insane.
Sorry for my witch laugh, but it was funny.
the first band was like a father-son trio, and they were playing like...
They were sweet.
They were playing like campfire songs, you know, so I was like, you know, aw, whatever.
And we're sitting there like all wearing black, like, what else is going to happen?
The next girl goes up, and it's like a keyboarder singer girl, and it's like R&B futuristic K-pop stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is getting out of hand. We're about to go up there and cause a mosh pit. What is happening? Yeah, and then sure enough, we go up there, and people start, you know, filling in the space, and it becomes a rock show all of a sudden, and it was just such a weird show. I was very conflicted.
But when you were on stage, you felt great.
Oh, it was amazing. I loved it. I had, you know, worked my butt off to get prepared to live shape, you know, with All Hail the Queen. It was a little bit different for me, you know. So I did a lot of work to get ready, and once we played, it was solid. Everyone loved it. I invited a lot of friends and family. They loved it. It's just never been the same since.
Yeah, we played a bunch of places after that. Played at, around Florida too. We'd play at the Haven in Orlando, and over at Piper's in Fort Lauderdale, so on the other side of the state. Like, just a bunch of different places in Tampa and St. Pete.
Newport Richey.
Newport Richey and Cape Coral.
Verona.
Yeah, we played a lot of places and had a
Which isn't necessarily easy to do, because being a rock band around here can be somewhat difficult.
Oh, it's even harder now after
our
2020.
So how much, and I forgive the way this may sound, but how much of a hindrance or a help is it when you're trying to book your band and you're a female fronted with a bagpipe? Do you think that more often than not, that's like, okay, we'll give them a shot, that's something different, or it's just like, oh God?
No, we've had people so 2020 was the last live show, like right before the pandemic. And since then, we just kind of like had, you know, somebody left because they were having a baby, somebody was moving, it was that kind of thing. But before that, like, we never had trouble getting shows at all. In fact, people come to us we still have venues like, please come back. You know, I'm like, we've never had issues getting like booked anywhere. I think it was more like when we were ready. Like, I almost kind of like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, all right, are we ready? Like, they want us to play. I forget that it's like, we should be setting our own like standard or like our own thing. Like, we'll be ready when we're ready. Instead, I'm just like, everybody, let's go, you know?
Yeah. So there was a while we didn't burn out, but we were trying to play every show request given our way. Mm-hmm. And it was stretching us a little thin. I would say we didn't have an issue with the bagpipes being like a hindrance of that, but I would say the opposite issue, the metal, was an issue with the bagpipe community. Like, we tried getting gigs with like
Scottish people. We're very
no shade, no
we're
hate.
Traditional. We don't like anything. No.
Yeah, no. Like, I don't know. I tried like sharing our music, and like, you know, maybe we could play at some crazy Celtic festival and be like, hell yeah, we're like war music. You guys would love us, but no, they just want to hear the traditional stuff. They think it's blasphemous what we're doing. So
yeah, that's got to be a tough crossover.
Oh, and I am one of those people too. But I'm also like, it's an art form, and it's something like this instrument is amazing. It shouldn't be confined to just one thing, especially if you're doing it well. Like, there are people who don't do it well, and that is.
And I think
what
that's
happens.
kind of the reputation most normies associate with bagpipe players is like the squinking and the squonking, you know.
Which is like, if you don't know what you're doing, but
right.
like, I mean, I've been in pro bands, you know.
Well, and it's not an afterthought in your case. It wasn't something you started doing as a gimmick.
Yeah, no. I think that people understand, like, once they see us, they're like, oh, it is a thing that you do. It's not just like, you're not just...
You're like, damn, they're serious.
Like, yeah, you didn't play for a year in high school and be like, I could do this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so it is nice. And, like, we'll play, and people who don't know that there are bagpipes, you know, that starts, and there are people coming in from the street, like, what is going on in there? Like,
sure.
Like, what is happening? And then they love it, you know? Everyone ends up really having a great response to it, which feels really good to us because we believe in it. And it's really nice to see that, like, people who might be like, I mean, metal people, we all know, are the most kind and wonderful. Like, like they love kittens and flowers and like and they're just like, you know, they might look scary, but like like that so they're
and blood
like,
and Satan.
Exactly. But we've gotten such a great response and so much love from the community. Like they're like, yeah, do the thing, because we're all outcasts in the first place. That's why we resonate with like metal music so much. That's why it makes us feel like at home, because we've been alienated and ostracized. And I mean, to be accepting and to be kind to people who are maybe different is just something that a lot of us are conditioned. Like that's just part of who we are.
I was going to say, that's the fabric of the metal community. Yeah. That's something that I personally really enjoy as well and have reaped the benefits of in my life. So that's really interesting. So now you got this record recorded.
Yeah.
You've got 2 singles, 2 videos, just dropped a cover song.
Got 3 singles.
Well, we did we dropped another song. We were just like, we're feeling frisky. We're just gonna release another song with a visualizer, and it doesn't have a music video or anything, but it's it's just something else for us to give everybody while we were on the hunt for members.
We felt bad making everyone wait so long, so we just said, screw it, we'll drop another.
Yeah, right. You're making yourselves wait too.
I know. It was a long time. I was just like, everyone's like, how's the band going? I'm like, it's great. We just need people.
So do you have a date set to release this in its entirety?
Yeah. We are releasing the EP on Friday, the 13th of October.
Oh, nice.
Decided to stay with the metal theme,
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So then this is going to give me my second industry has changed question. How do you feel about what day you have to release your music on?
Well, I like the Friday thing. I think it's great.
Do you remember Tuesday?
I don't remember Tuesday.
All music was released on a Tuesday for like 60 years.
Oh, I think I remember hearing something about. I think
Spotify is what changed that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's the young millennial in me.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, I don't know. Fridays.
It's one of and that's why I ask, because it's one of those things now that's become so ubiquitous that nobody thinks of anything differently. Where literally from the dawn of recordings being released till streaming takes over, Tuesday was the day.
I wonder
because they had strategized that for market's sake, that was your best time, and every album was released on a Tuesday. So I asked to see if anybody ever says Tuesday. I guess
it kind of makes sense. You got shit going on the weekends. You can't make it to the record store, but it's a new age. You can press play anywhere.
You got it. So that's one of those things. Nobody thinks twice but to release singles, and nobody thinks twice but the album's coming out on Friday.
But also, Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's the kicker there.
It's like, we're ready. It's like, it's been ready, but Friday the 13th is pretty cool. And it kind of actually coincides really well with the first time that we will be playing live since before, like a couple weeks before the pandemic, which was our last show. Our friend Jacob Slocum he's been a buddy for a long time, really great guy. He wrote a comic book with his buddy, and they brought it to some Comic-Cons. They sold some comic books. Well, it got picked up by an animation studio, and it just became it's an anime now. Like they did all this character development. They've worked so hard on this, and it's so cool how it's come together, because then they have like the script written. They're sending it to voice actors.
Some unbelievable voice actors on this show. Like if you like,
and what's the show called?
It's called Novastars AC.
Cool.
If you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, you peep this, because there's some voices you're going to recognize.
Yeah, really, really cool. It's all coming together beautifully. And before they had, all this other stuff, like the voice actors and the scripts and everything, Jacob asked he was like, how would you feel about making some of All Hail the Queen's music, like part of the anime, like for the intro for sure, and maybe here and there in some of the in the episodes? And I was like, that sounds dope. Of course.
I mean, that's been literally a dream of mine since I was a little 5th grader watching Naruto and jamming to the intros. That's going to be me.
Love it.
As soon as he asked, I was like, Jordan's going to love this. It was cool. I was like, here's the whole EP. There are a couple songs that aren't released that people haven't heard yet, just listen to them, see what you like. So he selected what he wanted for the intro and put together some cool animation stuff, sent it to us. I was like, this is amazing. And then he sent me little clips from other episodes. They have all this stuff lined up. They're debuting it I think it's 2 weeks after we released the EP, though.
So towards the end of October?
Yes. There's this thing is TCG convention in Miami. It's like a Comic-Con, and that is where the first episode is going to debut.
Oh, cool.
And the voice actor that is doing the protagonist in the whole series is the same guy who did Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z, which is really cool. He's going to be there. And Jacob was like, how would you guys feel about maybe playing? And I'm like, well, there's this thing and the fact that we don't have...
we didn't have any
It was the two of
members.
us. It was the two of us, and we were just like, we're working on it. So it was like, okay, there's a fire lit under our ass now.
And what was this, last month?
Oh no, this was a couple months ago. So we're like, all right, we got to find people.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't say yes until I know that we have people that we can rely on. So we started.
And bring up to speed that quick.
Yeah. So we started the hunt and ended up finding Mike, a really wonderful guy who is just so kind and reliable and cool, and it was just really nice. It's just and you feel like you can rely on him for anything.
I like Mike because he knows when it's go time to be very efficient and bust out the guitars and start playing versus when we can goof off and he knows, and he's a family man. He's driving 2 hours to come meet us in St. Petersburg to play from Ocala. So
nice.
He's an awesome dude. He's really committed to this.
Yeah.
He's got another band that he's working on too. So props to him for trying to push his band and work with us on meeting the deadline.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Meeting the deadline that we're propositioned.
Yeah, so we were like, all right, we have him. That's the three of us now. We just got to find a bassist, and we will. Because we have we have backing track stuff, and we can make it without having 5 people in the lineup. We can do it with 4, and it was kind of a thing of trying to find a bassist. And then I work with one of my closest friends, Jonathan, actually from Sage. I'm just like, Johnny, how would you like to play bass in my band? He was just like, that'd be awesome. I'm like, why didn't I do this before? We've been so worried for months.
They'd be hanging out and talking about it. Man, we got to find a bassist.
Yeah, and Jonathan's
man,
just
that
sitting
sucks.
there. Yeah,
Dang, I wish I knew one. I gotta get my bass out of the car.
Oh my gosh. So he comes to rehearsal a couple weeks later and just nails every
he did a
song.
great
And we
job.
were just, gosh, it felt so good that day too. We were just like,
It's the first time we played those songs as a full band since we were writing them.
What does that feel like?
oh my God, we were just so happy. And they were like, oh,
It's
I
like we
messed
were
up this
carrying
one
a boulder
part.
this whole time, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, one of them would be like, oh, I messed up this part. And we're just like, what? We feel so happy right now. We don't know anything. Like you guys are awesome. We just love everything. We're so glad.
Ecstatic.
So then I was like, all right, Jacob, yes, we can do the thing. So we're playing at this convention in Miami in October, which is 2 weeks after we drop the EP, which I think will give people a little more time to become familiar with the songs that aren't out already. And I think that it is a great kickoff to being able to play some shows around Florida. Hopefully, in the Southeast, I would really like to set up a little tour run. But I think that after we drop the EP, after we do this, the Comic-Con, we'll probably set up a Florida run of 4 or 5 shows.
I want to start a cosplay mosh pit.
That can be arranged.
That would be a dream come true for someone.
Wouldn't that be
guaranteed.
great? I can just see it now.
Since we're talking about live and you mentioned backing tracks, this is another thing I like to kind of ask everybody. In generalities, how do you do it live? Do you play to a click? Do you all have in-ears? Are you... what's the
all
secret
that
sauce?
stuff is a new concept to us. Our old album, we would just kind of
Play like
go
Rock Band.
raw, I am the click or whatever. But no, we decided it'd be our best interest to work with the click and backing tracks. Like our song, like I said, our songs kind of have a more mature feel to them now. There's backing tracks.
There's really not much in the backing tracks, just a little bit of synth
Ambient,
here and there. Yeah,
know.
some ambient stuff that you could either have a keyboard player to come and press one button, or the backing track thing. It helps a lot with and the click, like we said, we like.
You can't have one without the other. So
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's nice to have that. We have never played with everybody having in-ears. I'm used to in-ears, but...
I had never... She was in Team Cybergeist, and they had a lot of that stuff going on.
Right.
Industrial, but I had never really done that, and so it was definitely a learning curve for me, being the drummer, being in charge of maintaining that more than anyone else.
Right.
But also... the members at the time that we had weren't used to it either. So it was like 3 dudes trying to figure this out. It was a mess. But I'm glad we figured it out. Still working out a couple little kinks because we're not,
we're really
techies.
good at like certain things, and then some of the tech stuff we're just like, ooh,
we could
do you think you can figure this out?
Yeah.
So we're working on it, but that is something that we're gonna have from now on. Jordan will be playing to a click, and we'll have some the few little backing track things that we have will come through, and I think that just kind of like helps give a little bit more depth.
It's more for atmospherics than it is you're replacing a person or there's a bunch of vocals or something.
It's just another layer to add on, and a lot of it is intro, outro stuff anyways, so.
Do you find that, or have you found now that you brought these other members in, that playing to the click and the consistency made it easier to bring people in, or that was another layer to the onion?
I think it's another obstacle for people that aren't used to it, but
the ability to take apart the tracks and be like, oh, this is what this is. Okay, there's this guitar. Okay, so I'm going to play this.
It's advantageous at the same time, essentially, yeah.
It's nice to have that. Because, like, if this was, 20 years ago or whatever, like, we wouldn't be able to just, like, we wouldn't be able to email somebody, like, here's all the stems for the song. Like,
right.
So you can listen to this guitar, that guitar, the bass. You can listen to the backing tracks. Like, that makes it a lot easier because we don't have anything, like, tabbed out. But you can totally listen to like the tracks and figure out what it is.
Soloing out tracks is a beautiful thing for joining a band for sure. When I joined All Hail the Queen, it was just like listen to the chorus one time. All right, play it. All right, listen to it again. All right, play it, and just trying to decipher from there. There was no real solo tracks or anything. It was a demo, so it was pretty tough. But
so how much has refining the process helped your songs mature?
Oh, so much. Because even if, it makes you feel better about what you're doing when you're like, yeah, we have all the things. We're not just like standing in a garage playing, we like have things planned out. Like we have stuff mapped out. Like we can pull it up on the computer and like, see the stuff that we've done. And I don't know, it just kind of, I guess it makes you feel like...
It's a confidence thing for sure.
Absolutely.
It's a mental thing. Like when you have good gear, you play better. That's kind of a myth, but not really because, man, when I was playing on my old kit when I first joined, I was like, oh man, these guys have really nice equipment and I have this crappy drum set. Well, a year later, I bought a real nice drum set and the music has evolved intensely because I felt more comfortable with myself and...
That's what I was just going to say, because it's that mental factor opens up.
Exactly. And you really allow yourself to shine when you're your best self.
When you're comfortable.
Yeah. And having not just good gear, but like the ability to have crazy advanced track systems or software and in-ear monitors and all this stuff you would see side stage at Warped Tour and be like, what the hell is that? You have it in your like jam room and it's no big deal, and it just, I don't know, it really does aid the process.
Yeah, no really more listening to the boombox recording or whatever the case, and trying to decipher your parts.
Exactly.
Or like having an old PV wedge from the 70s,
Oh, yes. Just blare in your ears out, you can't hear anything but noise.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
My pants are flapping, but I can't hear.
Respect the roots,
So you guys have managed to clear some hurdles. You're coming out of COVID. I know that took a lot of bands off guard. Fiends was one of them too. Yeah. Good to hear that. And I know you got this EP coming out and some couple shows lined up. What's the little bit more distant goal? Where do you think you got more material? You're going to try to get another album out quickly, or are you going to try to stew on this one and tour as much as you can? What's a little bit more long term?
New music put together very soon. Yeah. I don't want us to overdo it with shows. I really want a little bit more of an online base built up because we do have a following on like Facebook. Our Instagram needs a lot of help. Our TikTok is like very new, but I would like for us to focus on like doing like new music, but also just like having more content. Like I'm always telling everybody, like, guys, try to remember to like just take video, like even if we're just like goofing off or like whatever we're doing, because we can use that to like, you can make content out of anything.
Right.
But that's kind of something that I would like for us to focus more on while we're writing, so that we can have stuff to post more regularly. Honestly, you can't just be like, we're gonna release this song. Now remember, we're releasing this song. You like, or we released the song. Hey, remember this last week? We did this. We did the thing. It's like, you want to release new stuff that's exciting, even if it's not a new song or an announcement or a show. It's like people want to just see what you're doing. They want to see the process. So it is crazy.
It's crazy too, because every practice is literally a gold mine of material and content, but we just live it. I don't know.
You got to set up a GoPro in the corner or something.
Yeah, we need to do something like that for real.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of embarrassed of my house because I like to call my little jam space the sound dungeon because it looks like a torture chamber.
Well, it has a washer and dryer in it. It's not bad.
That might be appealing. You might broaden your base with that. You never know.
No, I live in like a mother-in-law 2-story type deal in the alley in St. Pete downtown, and yeah, it's a little grimy, so I don't want to show that to TikTok. That's my private little.
Anybody out there feel like putting up a little drywall and
Not me.
That's
definitely not me on the rental.
The content hamster wheel, for lack of a better term, has sort of become as ubiquitous as releasing a bunch of singles and the album comes out on Friday.
Yeah.
No?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because people just want to see, like, people are flipping, they're scrolling TikTok, they just like want to see, like, people like to see new stuff, even if it's just behind the scenes, even if it's like you're in the studio tracking and you're just wearing sweatpants, like people like to see the progress, I guess. So I do think that after we play a couple shows, we will get back to writing and maybe do a full length. I think that's the next step after doing 2 EPs.
And you got all the ingredients on board now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, finally.
Mm-hmm. After doing that and getting our socials going a little bit more, get a little help there. It's a little tough out here in the streets.
Well, yeah, and like I said, COVID took everybody off their game, and everybody's kind of recovered in different ways. Some people dove right back in. Some people been doing more of a dip in the toe routine, and I don't think anybody's got a right or wrong answer at this point. So
right. Yeah. I mean, COVID kind of screwed us, left us all up in the air for a minute there, but we got our crap together, and I think we're doing okay now.
And the art didn't stop.
No. We definitely just got better and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe artists just needed COVID. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, it was different for sure, but it made it hard for, I know there were like a lot of people that were like dropping albums and they were supposed to tour. Some people had to stop the tour in the middle and come home like crazy. I mean, it happened on St. Patrick's Day. Like, I play the bagpipes. Yeah. The band is out doing stuff. We had gigs all day. Right. And like halfway through, it's like, oh no, this is serious. Like, everything's shutting down at 5. And
I remember there being a lot of good music dropped during lockdown or whatever because people were so pent up. But for us, it was kind of like the opposite issue, being like more of a live situation, trying to get 4 people together that may not have webcams or computers or smartphones even, who knows, Right. And like, it was hard out there. I lost my job. I know a lot of people lost their job. Our band we lost 2 members during that time. It was rough. So we're just now bouncing back from that.
I was going to say, on that note, I want to say congratulations on the bounce back. I'm looking forward to hearing the whole EP. I have watched the videos. I have watched the Nova Star thing. I think that's so cool.
Appreciate it.
I wish you guys nothing but the best. I look forward to seeing you again, maybe as the whole band.
Yes, that would be awesome. We would love that.
Thank you so much for coming in, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.